Hi, everyone. Welcome to Earn More with Your Cleanup Projects. The focus is the secrets to eliminate those cleanup surprises. If you've had one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Part of what I see for accounting professionals that do cleanups for their clients is there are challenges. Sometimes the challenge is about thinking the project is going to be a lot simpler than it is. And then once you get started in the project, it just blows up. It is so much more complicated than what you ever expected. The other part is about how to be able to charge for your services. Do you get paid up front? Do you get paid at the end? Are you charging an hourly rate, a fixed rate? How to be able to avoid losing money on the project. And then the third one is about how to avoid those cleanup headache clients, because having a client for a cleanup job can actually add to the headaches and the nightmare if they're not giving you information you need on time, and because that it delays the project, or if they are not someone who you really enjoy working with for other reasons. There's a variety of reasons that clients turn into headaches. Anyway, those are some of the things that I see. A lot of it is because you might not have a real strong process going from one piece to the next piece to the next piece. As a result of that, it is then having you accommodate the client instead of necessarily your client doing things to accommodate you in order for you to be able to get the cleanup done and give a nice set of books back to your client, as opposed to leaving it messy or having it prolonged longer than necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Before we jump into the content I'm going to be sharing, I'd love to just have Steve take a moment and please introduce yourself.
Lauren, I would love to, and I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for everybody that's joining us today. So my name's Steve Fogelman. I am actually Lauren Fogelman's husband. I used to have an identity, but now that's my new identity. I've been a therapist for 35 plus years and have been a business coach for the last 5 years, and had the pleasure to be working in Lauren's business, and I'm just really excited to be here today. I'll be working the chat and also working the poll questions. So please go ahead and participate in that. And if you have any questions for Lauren, please put them in the chat and I will pass them over to Lauren. Can't wait to get started.
Absolutely, thank you. A little bit about me is I am a sports psychologist turned business coach. Basically, I was doing sports psychology, working with highly ranked athletes on their mental game. And I was also doing business coaching. Along with that, we had 2 young kids at home. I wanted to have things that I was interested in doing beyond just working. And after a while, I burned out. I couldn't juggle all those different responsibilities and plates well at one time. So something had to go. That's when I decided to have, well, Steve actually had a very real conversation with me, and I appreciate that, Steve, where we both agreed it was time to put the sports psychology on the back burner, focusing on the business coaching. Over the course of doing that since 2009 to now, I've recognized that I have a niche as well as a specialty. The niche is accounting professionals. Absolutely love the difference that you make for your clients, what you bring to the table, how you help them be able to rise up by focusing on the cash flow piece in order to make their business more profitable. Because that when you make a difference for them, they make a difference for their clients. And it's just this wave of positivity that I see happening. The other part is, in addition to the niche of accounting professionals, I have a specialty that I absolutely love, showing you how to separate your fees from time in order to have clients that highly value the service that you bring to the table, and to be able to earn more money without having to work additional hours. I already had that experience. I know what happens and what could happen, how your business creeps into other parts of your life. And I want to be, and I'm really on a mission to show accounting professionals how they can earn an amazing living from their business, but they don't have to sacrifice other parts of their life in order to do so. And as you can see, from 2018 to 2020, I've been on HubSpot's list of top 22 business coaches And I also have a book on Amazon, The Success Solution. If you are an accounting professional where you feel you are working a lot and not getting paid as much as you would like to be paid, you are absolutely in the right place. If you feel that you're having an upper limit problem where you are really devoting many, many hours, there aren't any more hours that you could possibly give. However, you know that you haven't achieved your full earning potential, then we're going to start to solve that today. And if you feel that you are spending too much time working in the business on the technical part, the compliance part, the day-to-day tasks, you want to really move more into that consulting or advisory role, then we're going to start to look at that today as well. A lot of what I see is about the formula. When you first start bookkeeping, you are so excited about it and the difference that you're making for the clients. You're really looking forward to also having your business make a difference for you and your lifestyle too. And a lot of it is sometimes winging it. You learn things as you're going through the process. I believe as business owners and entrepreneurs, we actually pay for a Harvard business education without actually going and getting the credentials. We're paying it with street creds, by experience, maybe making some expensive mistakes. And who here loves making mistakes? I know that I don't, but we've made tons of expensive mistakes and we've learned because of those mistakes. But if you had a formula that you could just plug and play, then it turns some things right now into headaches and actually makes it a lot more profitable, as well as simplifying and making something easier. The other thing that I've seen happening with a lot of the bookkeepers that I'm working with right now is by having this plug and play formula with their cleanups, as well as with other things in their bookkeeping and accounting practices, they're able to pass some things forward to maybe assistants or grow their team that they've been doing in order to really have them do the higher level work of working on their business or really focusing on what their best gifts are and passing off some of the other tasks onto team members and growing a team. That could be doing the sales part of it. It could be doing the day-to-day compliance piece of it, the technical part of it. It could be doing email management and phone calls. That's one of the things I love helping my clients do, is getting all those emails off their plate, because that could be hours right there that is keeping you in your business instead of really being able to focus on the things that are going to grow your business. So having a formula helps you be able to grow faster sometimes than just winging it yourself. And I just want to say, I know that you're smart enough to figure it all out yourself, but having that plug and play system just helps you move forward at a faster rate. Part of what we're going to cover today is those 5 costly pricing mistakes. And on the opposite end of the spectrum is turning cleanups into your personal ATM. During the time that we have together, I will absolutely give you as much as I possibly can. If you're interested in knowing more and how you can make your cleanups more profitable, I'll show you ways to be able to move forward at the end.
So Lauren, let's go ahead and get started. I'm really excited to hear about the 5 costly pricing mistakes. But however, before we do that, we're going to do our first poll. So our chat questions, poll questions are, do you offer a diagnostic review? And if you do, how do you do that? Do you roll them right into a monthly service? Is it part of your free consult, or do you have a paid diagnostic review? So please go ahead and put it into the poll so that we can give you the results.
So the answers are starting to come in.
Okay. So I see I have a paid diagnostic review is about 50%.
Yeah. We're like 50-50 right now.
50,
so let's just take about maybe 2
part
or
of my
3
free
seconds.
consult is 50%. It's changing a little bit.
Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and close it.
Okay.
And I'll share the results.
So we have a paid diagnostic review is 38%. It's part of a free consult is 50%, and rolling them into a monthly service is 13%.
Excellent.
And Carrie says, I have a paid diagnostic review process, but seem to have trouble selling it. And Sunita says, I would like to offer paid diagnostic review. Excellent. You're both in the right
Yeah,
place
yeah.
for that.
And if anybody feels comfortable sharing, if you do have a paid diagnostic, I would love for you to put what you charge for that in the chat, because it just helps everybody else get an idea as to what's possible. Anyway.
So I'm going to jump right in here, because I know that some people, Lauren, they really like to do things themselves, while other people really see the value of having somebody kind of do the step-by-step and helping them. So what are the steps to turn your cleanups into your personal ATM?
Well, this is right out of the Profitable Cleanup Formula program that I offer, and we're going to dive deep into the first of the 5 steps, but I just want to give you all 5 steps because that way you get an idea of what's possible. The very first one is turning cleanups into your personal ATM machine. I will let you know that it is possible to charge probably 2 to 5 times more for your cleanups than what you're currently charging for them. The majority of accounting professionals that do offer cleanups, I would say at least 57% undercharge for them because they are doing it from what they think is important and valuable, as opposed to looking at it from the client's perspective of what is most important and valuable, or they don't know how to communicate the value of it. That is the first thing, and that's what we're going to start to dig into today. The second part is onboarding your ideal client, because I know almost every single accounting professional that I talk with has had a headache or a PITA client at some point. Maybe once you realized it, you've held on to that client for much longer than you would have liked to. You would have loved for them to have gone away, but you didn't know how to make that move on your own, or you needed their income. And maybe that client was your biggest client. And because of that, you were afraid to let them go because they were paying you a big chunk of what you put in, what you receive every month. And as a result of that, I want to show you how, and we're going to go into that a little bit today, of how to be able to avoid ending up with a long-term headache client. And it starts with the cleanup process. The other thing is, you don't need to have your cleanup project turn into a nightmare. There is a process that lets you have worry-free cleanups. And there's some things that you can do right now, and we'll start to go into that too. And the diagnostic is a part of it that lets you really have those worry-free cleanups. You eliminate the surprises. Number 4 is no more chasing money, because I am constantly answering questions, whether it is having conversations directly with accounting professionals or in my Facebook group of business success solutions for accounting professionals that I have, about the fact that they started doing a project, maybe they got paid a retainer up front, but once the project was completed, that person wasn't responding to them anymore. They weren't paying them for the rest of the project. And now what do? Do you write it off? Do you go to small claims court? And that becomes one of those Harvard business education expensive headaches. And you can actually avoid having that learning experience because it's a costly mistake and it doesn't have to happen. There's a simple fix that you can do. And then the last part of the profitable cleanup formula that I teach in the program is the Path to Profits roadmap. How to be able to really put these things in place in a way that feels genuine and authentic for you and allows you to really bring value to the table, have clients who respect you, are happy to pay your fees, and also avoid some of those headaches that you might have if you don't have a formula in place. Steve, did anybody share what they charge?
Yes, Carrie actually shared that her review price is between $350 and $500.
Great, great. And just to let you know, with my clients, is they usually start off anywhere from $500 to $1,500 for a review, because of the fact that there's some things that they learn to highlight during the initial consultation that brings out the value. And it also is a way to start to pre-qualify clients for the value that you bring to the table instead of having you be price competitive.
And let's dive right in, Lauren, because I know that it's a really common pain that most bookkeepers learn firsthand, and that's the cleanup nightmares like you talked about. Why does this happen? Why do they run into these problems all the time?
Well, 9 out of 10 times, you're having that consultation with a client, you're asking them what you need to be able to dig in and get started. Maybe you're going into their files also and taking a quick look for yourself. But your clients 9 times out of 10, first of all, they don't understand the complexity of what you do and everything that's involved. And if they are coming to you for cleanup, it's because they really didn't have a clue as to what was going on with their books, that maybe things weren't categorized right, or they were totally uncategorized. It could be that they had more transactions that they originally told you, or that there's more accounts. They didn't think to tell you about their several Amazon accounts, or that loan that they got a couple years ago that just hasn't been really closed out. So there's a lot of times that we're taking their word as really accurate when they don't know. The other part I just want to say is that they, for the most part, they believe that it's simple, easy, basic. I'm going to let you know right off the bat, if they're telling you that their books are simple, easy, and basic for the most part, then they're either unaware of really what you do and the different things that you need to take into consideration to have a clean set of books, or else they're price sensitive. And it is a code word when you hear simple, easy, and basic, that they want it to be cheap and as inexpensive as possible. So those are some of the things to think about, is when you are fully relying on your client's report and not doing a thorough diagnostic, you end up having some headaches down the road.
And so what are the 5 common pricing mistakes when pricing a cleanup project? Because a lot of people are asking about that.
The very first thing is that you might not be doing a diagnostic. I remember with one of my clients, when we first started to set this up, she was like, oh, I think I'll just charge $150. It's just going to take me an hour or so to do the diagnostic. And then once she actually followed my formula, she's like, oh my gosh, I am so glad that I listened to you and I charged $500 for this, because it actually took me about 3 to 5 hours to do this diagnostic thoroughly. And so because she had always done it a different way before, she didn't realize that she was missing some information, and that was contributing to the cleanup project being more complex than what she thought it would be. Because there's not a very thorough diagnostic, where in the cleanup formula that I give my clients, and including the program, a 15-point checklist, and then how to do the report. Because you're not following through with maybe that type of checklist, then you're underestimating maybe you're focusing on how much time you think it's going to take, and maybe some other costs also. And as long as you're focusing on time and costs, you will most likely be undercharging for the project itself. Once we start separating your time from your fees, then you're able to actually start making that 2 to 5 times more that I was mentioning earlier. Number 3 is the next steps. A lot of times when you're first meeting with a new client, you might be enrolling them too quickly into working with you on a regular basis, or you might be enrolling them too quickly into the cleanup project. Because of that, they don't fully understand all the steps involved in order to have an accurate set of books, as well as in order to maintain it accurately from that point forward and not end up getting in trouble again. When you're able to articulate or communicate the different steps involved, it actually then positions you as the authority and the expert. This is where you have the expertise and the know-how to be able to accurately give them financials. Also, it then starts to position you more as an advisor or a consultative person than just about a technician. The fourth part is speed of delivery. Let's go back a couple of months to all the PPP and EIDL loans going out. Well, some people had horrible books. They couldn't actually put in the application for the money that they so desperately needed because they had to get their books in order first in order to submit the accurate reports that were required. Well, that means that they had some urgency. I will let you know that their urgency can become your urgency if you don't have the right systems in place. But on the other hand, if somebody needs a clean set of book or certain information very, very quickly, whether it's for a loan application, whether it's for some type of assistance, or maybe an IRS audit, then it is possible to actually change your pricing, because now you have to accommodate them and maybe move some other things around in your schedule, or possibly that you're working into the evenings when you wouldn't normally work that late, or you have to give up some weekend plans in order to give them the financials that they need. As a result of that, you are able to actually pay for a faster job and speed of delivery than if it was one that would accommodate your schedule instead of you having to accommodate them. Now, you're saying you can't do that. They're not going to pay for that. Well, I'm going to show you people pay for that all the time. Think about having to get a contract from LA to Las Vegas tomorrow in order to really close a deal. The docs have to be in tomorrow. That's the deadline. Well, you could do it the US Postal Service. Who knows these days how long it's going to take to get there? Maybe seven to 10 days to go from LA to Las Vegas. You could do ground delivery FedEx. Then it'll possibly be 3 to 5 days. Or you could overnight it, where it is guaranteed on time every time, or your money back. Now, if you have a deadline and they have to be there, of course you're going to do the overnight because you want the guarantee. You're also probably going to pay 4 to 5 times more for it to be overnight, because you are paying for the peace of mind of that guarantee delivery. And that shows that people all the time are doing that. Think about how many people have Amazon Prime. And they have Amazon Prime because they want that fast delivery instead of standard. Well, because that it is proof that your clients are already paying the services for speed of delivery, and you can be charging for that too. And then number 5 is payment terms, because a lot of times you are maybe getting a retainer up front, and then you are receiving the rest of the bill or the invoice on the back end. Well, once the work is already completed, you then have lost some of your negotiating power, and it's possible you might end up getting burned and not getting your full fee, because maybe they aren't responding anymore and they're not going to pay you for the work you've already performed, or they're thinking that it took longer than expected and you're charging them for more time than what they thought it ought to take, and now they want to negotiate your rates. Either way, when you are getting paid on the back end, it means that you are financing your work for that client. It's similar to having credit cards. If you don't pay your balance at the end of that month, then they are charging you 18% interest, because they are now financing those purchases that you've made. And there's a fee involved because they want to make sure that they're getting paid for it. Well, if you're going to go ahead and get paid on the back end, you can actually charge a higher fee for financing your work than if you have a client pay you in full before you get started. And the last one is giving people options. That is where you want to maybe give them options to see if they really want it done as quickly as they said they needed it done. Or maybe there's an option to get it according to what works for your schedule as opposed to having to accommodate their schedule, and that you can give them options with different prices depending on the urgency and how quickly you need to accommodate them.
And Lauren, do we have another poll question coming up?
We order in a little bit, but not quite yet.
Okay.
The other thing is that when you are going into the cleanup project, you realize that it's more complex than what you originally thought. Now you're faced with two options. Option number one is you pick up the phone, you're calling your client, you're having a conversation about how it's going to take more time, there's more complexity. Because of that, it's going to be a bigger fee than what they originally expected. Or option number two is that you don't like having difficult conversations, they feel confrontational. You realize that you're going to make money on the back end once they turn into a monthly client. And as a result of that, you keep the fees where they are, and it lowers your profit on the project. Either way, it's not a great way to start out a relationship with a new client where either they're paying more than they expected or you're having lower profits than what you originally expected. When I first started working with Devin about a year ago, she has an accounting practice where she does bookkeeping for her clients. She has a specialty of only working with attorneys. And she's an attorney also. So she has a law practice as well as a bookkeeping accounting practice. With that, Devin needed to bring in a certain amount of income each month through her bookkeeping and accounting practice. And she really was uncomfortable talking about the money part of it. Because of that, when an attorney came to her wanting her to get their books up to date and have her do the bookkeeping on a monthly basis and some of the other things for them, she just automatically rolled them into a monthly recurring process. And she did the cleanup part as part of their monthly fees. She once again figured that she, over the long term, would be making a profit on this client. And she didn't separate out the cleanup project from the regular monthly work that she did with them. Because of that, she was working a lot of hours. She wasn't making as much money as she could be making, and she was constantly stressed out and overwhelmed. She had a lot on her plate. When we started looking at her process, what we did is we created a system where it's just like what I'm talking about now with the cleanup formula. She did a paid diagnostic, and from that, she could roll them into the cleanup project, and from that, she can roll them into a monthly package. And that was a differentiator for her right there, is the fact that she started to have packages and options for her clients as opposed to just one way of working with her. By doing that, she was able to actually increase her rates nearly fivefold. She now charges between, I think, about $1,000 to $2,000 just for the diagnostic. And then she is also charging for the cleanup projects where she was before giving them away for free. But it's not just about the fact that she's doing these things in her business. When we first started working together, one of the things that she wanted to do was take her part-time assistant, who is doing this as a side gig. Her part-time assistant had actually another 9 to 5, and turn her part-time into a full-time. That was something that she really wanted. That would be a milestone for her. Well, I just found out as of September 1st, her part-time assistant is now full-time. And this is allowing Devin now to pass some more things that are on Devin's plate onto her assistant's plate, freeing Devin up to do more of the consultative work and the higher level advisory work. The other thing is Devin absolutely hates the sales part. And because of that, she's now actually having me train her assistant on how to do exactly what I'm talking about here, how to do the diagnostic, the initial consultation, enrolling them into a monthly recurring client. She's having her assistant learn how to do the sales part because of the fact that I've shown her how to systematize it with knowing how to pre-qualify someone, knowing the right questions to ask, knowing how to talk about the different packages before they become a regular client. And because it's a system, she doesn't have to do it. She knows how to do it. She's been doing it this whole year, but now she's able to pass it forward because it's something that she doesn't enjoy doing herself.
So Lauren, let's look at the next phase of this, which is how to turn your cleanups into your personal ATM. And we have another chat question, poll question. How do you charge your clients? Are you charging an hourly rate? Are you charging a flat fee? Or are you doing value pricing? And please go ahead and put your answers in the chat so that Lauren and I can give you the results. And it looks like a horse race right now. So it looks like 60% are doing flat rate.
It's going to continue changing.
It's
Steve,
going to
are
continue,
there any comments or any questions in the chat right now?
Not so far.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Okay.
And we're going to take about another 5 seconds before we wrap this up.
Okay, so here are the results that we have. So charging a flat rate, 57%, charging an hourly rate, 29%, and good for you, 14% are doing value pricing. Your personal ATM. There you go.
Yeah. That's what we're going to dig into now is really the personal ATM. What we're going to really look at is the value and what your clients highly value is different than what you think that they value. This is about starting to really step into their own shoes and recognizing that quality plus service over cost. Those are the 3 things that your clients are considering is quality, service, and cost. Now, from an accounting professional's perspective, a lot of time they believe that cost is the first thing that their clients are considering. It's why you're a lot of times wedded to an hourly rate or you do competitive pricing, is because you believe that your clients are comparing you based upon your fees to other clients. I will let you know that if you do an hourly rate or competitive pricing, they probably are, because you're probably attracting price-sensitive clients to you. But if you look at the ideal clients that you really want to work with or that you enjoy working with most, they prioritize quality and service before cost. They're looking at the quality of the experience working with you. What's that relationship like? How accessible are you to them? Do you answer their questions? Are you maybe bringing things to the table that help to grow their business in some way? Do you maybe give them suggestions, forecasts for them, give them insights in order to really allow them to have a more profitable business? So what is the quality of the relationship? And is it comfortable for them? Do they feel comfortable reaching out to you? And that it's okay for them to ask you what they might consider those stupid questions because they're not that savvy about the financials as they think they ought to be. So that's something to really look at, is the quality of the service. And as far as the financial savvy part of it, I would actually suggest you assume most of them don't really understand the reports that you're giving them. Just assume that they need the elementary information and for you to be able to teach them what the reports are in order to really understand them, because they don't understand the story behind the numbers like you do. And because it's easy for you, that's why they're hiring you, but it doesn't mean that they have that insight as well. So I would actually take the time to teach them, and that is part of the quality of the relationship and what you bring to the table. The other part is the service. The service is about your expertise, having all of the knowledge, the software, the apps available in order to be able to deliver on your promise. That is really what they're looking at as well, is the relationship part, which is the quality of the service and the quality of how they work with you, that client experience. And then having the trust, the peace of mind that you can deliver on your promises. Because think about how often maybe they hired someone else to do the books, and as soon as you saw the books, you saw what a mess they were. Just recognize that simply because someone says that they can do bookkeeping doesn't mean that they're really doing a very good job of it. And they might actually be hurting their clients more than they're helping them. Because I've seen so many clients that believe that they don't have a profitable business. And they actually do have a profitable business, but because of the fact that somebody wasn't doing the bookkeeping accurately, the numbers were not accurate, and it was telling them a different story than once you got into it and cleaned them up and could show them the true story. So realize that when you come with a quality experience and you focus on the fact that you can deliver on your promises, those two things and the peace of mind that comes with that and the relationship is more important than the cost.
And Lauren, we have a question from Sunita. She would like to know, I would like to know how to charge value pricing. And I told her that we're going to be covering that as we go on. And then if she wants to go deeper, she can certainly schedule a strategy session with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you had that link, you can share that with Sunita privately. But this is right, perfect timing, Sunita, because right here is what value pricing is all about. This one slide sums it up. The client needs to believe that what they have to gain is greater than your fees. That is it right there. If they believe that what they have to gain from working with you, because you're going to show them where they're not as profitable as they could be, or how they could be even more profitable from your insights, and you're looking at their financials, and that by what they have to gain by either plugging up a money leak or being able to add additional revenue to the bottom line, if you can show them those two things, and those two things are greater than your monthly fee, then that is the value of what you bring to the table. And clients will value what that is. The right clients, not the price sensitive ones, but your ideal clients will value that, and they will pay you more than what an hourly rate would be. And an example is that one of my clients, she was working as an account manager for maybe like 20 years for somebody else. And then last year, around November, went out on her own. And we started working together as soon as she went out on her own, I think like within 1 month of her opening up her own practice. In the beginning, she was charging an hourly rate because she always got paid by the hour. She got paid by a salary. Her fees were always connected to her time. And what we started to do is create her packages and put the system that I'm talking about right now into place in order to separate her fees from time. Well, in the back of her mind, she's still tracking her hours and her numbers because she wants to make sure that she's profitable. But what she's charging clients, especially when she packages her services together and bundles things together, and they're not getting a line item invoice at the end of each month anymore, is she's now charging maybe 3 to 5 times higher. I know with one client that is extremely profitable, when she was looking at her hours, she's probably making over $500 an hour for her service, but it's because of the value of what she brings to the table for this particular client, and that she is able to really be that expert, helping them be able to have accurate financials, helping them understand what decisions they need to be making in their business, being able to plug up some of those costly money leaks. And because of how much money she's showing them on how to save, as well as where she could be making more profit, they are happy to pay her fees, even though, like I said, They're not hiring her for her time. They're hiring her for her expertise. And that goes right into the value formula, where it's these 3 different silos. The very first one is personal value. It's about you understanding the value that you bring to the table before you can expect anybody else to recognize the value that you offer. It's not about your time. It's about your insights, your expertise, the fact that you can deliver on your promises and give them accurate financials. The second piece of this is pricing for value is about separating your fees from time. Your clients do not care how much time it takes. In actuality, they actually value it being done faster than a long, drawn-out process. Once again, this goes back to FedEx. People will pay 4 times more for overnight delivery because they value speed as opposed to it taking more hours. More hours on a delivery actually has less hours than a fast delivery. And that applies to your business also. Third part of it is that the majority of accounting professionals I know, they don't like the sales piece. It's very uncomfortable for them, as it was, as I mentioned earlier with Devin, where she's not even doing it any longer. She's having her team do it for her because they do a better job of representing her than she represents herself. So with the value conversation, it's about not selling because you don't like that part. It's about asking great questions. When you ask specific great questions, which is part of what I do also when I'm working with my clients, is we create the questions to ask during your initial consultation. Those questions let them actually see the value that you offer, as opposed to when you're just focusing on the necessities and the technical part of how many transactions, how many bank accounts, how many credit cards do you have, and so on and so forth. Those things are not as important as some other things, because when you're looking at transactions, bank accounts, credit cards, you're looking at what you need to deliver. But that isn't what's important to them. They're more important about how to be more profitable, about how to grow, how to be able to not feel like they have to have this last payment come in because they're a little bit short on payroll. And this happens every single payroll, and it stresses them out, and they're tired of having that happen. They want to get out of that rat race or that hamster wheel. So that's what you need to think about, is what are their headaches as opposed to the things that you need to get the job done.
So I love this slide with the auto mechanic, Lauren. What are some of the ways that the bookkeepers can avoid getting into these cleanup nightmares? Because you've talked about them quite a bit.
Well, you want to look at this and approach working with your clients like your auto mechanic approaches working with you. You have noise going on in your engine. You set an appointment with your mechanic. You bring in your car. You explain what you hear. Well, your mechanic, very first thing, is going to lift up the hood and put his or her head under the hood, maybe clamp on some things to your different parts of your engine to diagnose the problem. They're going to do a diagnostic as the very first thing. After that, they're going to look at everything that comes out of that diagnostic and share that with you. There's going to be a long, overwhelming laundry list of things that come out of that diagnostic. And once they do that, they then have a discussion with you about, okay, you have this long laundry list. Which are the things that we need to do first, and which are the things that we can postpone for later? So they're now prescribing a course of treatment to be able to have your car running efficiently and safely on the road. Once they go through their prescription, you're now agreeing that yes, let's do this. You're giving them permission to do certain parts of the work and to hold off on doing other parts of the work. And then after your car's running well again, they're now looking to roll you into a maintenance in order to keep your car running safely and smoothly on the road. Well, that's what you want to do with your clients also, is go through those 5 exact steps in order to really work with ideal clients and make sure that you're only working with ideal clients and not working with the headache clients. Basically, and I'm going to just go right into this, Steve. Basically,
Sure.
This is what it looks like. You do that diagnostic first, where you're paid to do the diagnostic. Like I said, my clients charge anywhere from $500 to, on average, $1,500, depending on the complexity of the business. The very simple businesses are paying $500. Then you're able to know exactly what goes into the cleanup, and you're doing the cleanup itself. I encourage my clients to get paid up front because they charge for value as opposed to time. From that, you're then going into a monthly maintenance package with your clients, and you can offer them 3 different options of how to move forward with you and talk with them about what you both agree will be the best way to move forward. So you're in agreement and on the same page.
So let's look at some of the 5 tips to get started, Lauren.
Yeah, with that, basically, like I said, you want to charge for the review. When you're in the review, you're going to see little simple fixes you could do that just take maybe a couple minutes here or there. I just want to say resist the urge to start fixing things because you were not given permission yet or paid to do that part yet. All you were given permission and paid for was to do a review and look under the hood. Don't get your tools out and fix stuff yet.
Good point.
Also, you want to develop a pricing formula. How do you price your cleanup projects in order to price them for value as opposed to time and cost? And by having a formula in place, it then is very, very systematized, and you're always being able to charge for value. And that's part of the cleanup formula program that I offer. Then you want to get paid before you start the project because your highest value is before you do the work as opposed to after you do the work. That is because there's urgency before you do the work. Think about it. Those people that needed to apply for the PPP loans, there was an urgency to get it done quickly, and they're willing to pay you more before you do the work. But once the work is done, then there's some relief and it loses some of its value, even though the work that you did wasn't any different. It's looking at it from their perspective instead of your perspective. The other thing is this allows you this process of doing a diagnostic and then going into the cleanup project before going into a monthly recurring maintenance. It lets you and your new client test drive working with each other together. You get to see if this is someone who you want to work with. Are they responsive? Do they give you access to what you need? Are they really enjoyable to work with? And with your clients, from their perspective, they might have worked with other bookkeepers and been burned before or have some trust issues. And this lets them, in a very slow way, gain trust working with you that you can do the job and that they feel that you're going to be a different experience than maybe a previous experience was. Now, if this is something that interests you, I have a free resource on how to start to value price and be able to package the cleanups and that allows you to sell more, boost your profits, and grow your business. It's 10 steps that I have, and you can get it right there on businesssuccesssolution.com / is it packages, Steve? I can't see the whole thing.
Yeah, /package.
Okay, yeah. So businesssuccesssolution.com / package. If you want to get that free resource, it's right there. It answers your question, Sunita, about how to start value pricing your services. It's not the full thing, but it gets you started. And with Susan, when we first started working together, Susan had some, she didn't have confidence with charging what she was worth. It's really what it comes down to. She made such a huge difference for her clients. She is very, very service focused, but she really was afraid of losing clients. She was concerned that she raised her fees, they wouldn't stick with her. And because of that, she wanted to raise her fees for years, but she probably didn't do any type of price increase for about 5 years or so because of the fact that talking about the money part was uncomfortable for her.
Mhm.
We went through this whole process, and she started to learn what her value was and how she actually added value to her clients. It helped her communicate it better. And as a result of that, she was able to start charging 5 times more than normal. And because Susan is a bookkeeper, she kept everything on an Excel spreadsheet. And this is just a little bit of how she was able to earn more without working additional hours. If you look at cleanup number one, she got this proposal maybe within the first 4 to 6 weeks of us working together. This proposal came in for a cleanup job. She would have normally priced it based upon her time, $1,500. That's what she would have estimated, even though she admitted that she always underestimated the projects. And as a result of them, they always became less profitable than what she thought they would be because they had complexities that she didn't realize. So she would have charged $1,500. We did the diagnostic, and then we had a conversation about the value of her doing this work. We agreed that the value was probably $7,900. Now, this was a big gulp for her. When she heard that, she took her breath in for a moment because it was totally out of her comfort zone. I explained to her once again about how, from her client's perspective, this was worth more than $7,900 to them. And also about how to have that conversation with them in order for them to recognize the value. She followed what I showed her to do, even though it was a stretch for her and it was uncomfortable. But she did it anyway. So that took courage, not confidence. She didn't have the confidence, but she so much wanted to fix this problem in her business. She was tired of tolerating it. Not only did she get $7,900 for the cleanup project, she also followed my instructions and got paid in front the entire $7,900 before she did the work. So it didn't take her any more time, but she made an additional $6,400 profit on the cleanup project because she followed this formula. And you can see the numbers over the course of the year, just with these particular clients she had listed, she made an additional $56,000. And when we first were working together, she was working 7 days a week. She was working about 60 hours a week. And now she's working, I believe, 4 hours a week and 20 hours a week. And she feels a little bit guilty about it because she has so much more free time and she's making more money. So I just want to let you know, she doesn't have the worries any longer. She's making more money than she was, and she's working less time, which means that she has more time for her family and to do other things that she enjoys doing.
So let's look at what we covered today, Lauren, because you've given us so much information. So we looked at the 5 costly pricing mistakes. We looked at how to turn your cleanups into your personal ATM, which is my absolute favorite. And yeah, let's look at, I know that there are folks out there that are just chomping at the bit to see how they can have a further conversation with you. So if you want to go to businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk, you can go ahead and schedule a personal meeting with Lauren, a strategy session, a consult. And that's once again, businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. And how many slots have you put aside for this, Lauren?
I actually have 3 because we did this webinar on Wednesday also, and this is a follow-up. So I have 3 more remaining. And I also put the link in the chat if somebody just wants to click on that to be able to apply for one and grab it. But basically, this is where we are looking at how your practice could be more profitable, what it is that you would like to achieve and how you would like things to be different, where things currently are. So I know what it is that we need to do as far as looking at the options of the things you can do to be more profitable and have it be easier for you as opposed to harder, removing some of those headaches, what some of the obstacles are that you see, as well as finding the opportunities. And if it looked like this is something you wanted to do and work more closely together, or you were interested in the profitable cleanup formula and how that program works, we could talk about those options also. But basically, I'm not wedded to whether you move forward and work with me or not. I'm just wedded to you getting value from the conversation. And so if you're someone who realizes that you've been tolerating things, you can be more profitable, but you're just not sure how to do it, it's been on your mind for a long time, but because you don't know how to take those steps, you've been holding back, and as a result, it's affecting your income and lifestyle. You recognize the importance of the fact that you want to be working more on your business in order to grow it in a way that serves you. You can't accommodate everybody in the way that they want to be accommodated. You want to take charge. If those are some of the things that really are coming up for you and you feel that your time is now for moving forward with something like this, then absolutely grab one of those Path to Profit strategy sessions at businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. And I would be thrilled to look at how to make your business work for you and really support your lifestyle instead of draining the life out of you where you feel like you had to continue to make sacrifices. Anyway, thank you so much. I look forward to having a conversation with you. Once again, there's only 3 Path to Profit strategy sessions remaining. Lauren Fogelman.
Stephen Fogelman.
Showing you how to double your income.
Working half the time.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.